today, what is the first day of a 5-week class on how to do what is called a 3x3 grid, and we'll be explaining that throughout the hour that we're together. We do only have an hour, so we will keep moving along fairly quickly. If you have any questions, please just type it into the chat. A chat on the Zoom call, and if I miss it because I'm talking, Grayson will jump in and make sure that we answer it. Before we dive into it, though, I just want to give a little bit of talk about digital marketing, because I think there's some things we have to make sure that we understand in order to make use of what we're going to learn in this 5-week class, but also just where we need to be in our digital marketing efforts. So here's the basic concept. There are, at any given time, there are people in the sales cycle that are either just entering the sales cycle, there might be months away from making a decision, all the way up to people that are looking to hire somebody today. All right. The way we need to market to each of those is different. And even if we want to market to each of those, can be different. So let me give you the why it's an advantage to work with people before they're ready to buy, and what the benefit is of someone later in the process. If you can get in front of people before they're ready to buy and develop a relationship with them, two things happen that are very, very positive. One is thereby you have a much higher closing percentage at that point. If they've gone through and have learned who you are and the like, you have a much better chance of closing them. The second advantage is that they're almost always the type of clients that you want, because they've gotten to know you in that process. They've gotten to know your what you like, what you do, and if they're not appropriate, they've probably filtered themselves out already. Just as an example, if someone is wanting an economy kitchen remodel, they really just want to reface the cabinets and maybe do a little painting, and and all your digital communications with them is about custom work, and like they have probably figured out that you're not the right person for them. And so you tend not to get the price shoppers and the like if that's not what you want. On the other hand, if what your specialty is really giving high value, then the same thing happens just the other way. The people that are looking for custom have probably figured out that you're not the right person for them, and so you don't have to waste time dealing with them. But the person who's looking for the most bang for the buck knows you're the right person, and so they may only talk to you. I think the person that has proven this the most is Marcus Sheridan. I don't know if any of the people on got to hear Marcus when we had him talk for NARI about a week and a half ago. But he runs a company called River Pools in Warsaw, Virginia. And his average new client has been back to his website 30 times to learn more and more about them. And they have about an 80% closing ratio. If you think about that, that's just plain incredible. Most of us don't have enough content on our site to have them come back 30 times. And yet, he has proven that if they come back 30 times, they're almost always the ideal client, and they almost always buy. So those are two very, very positive outcomes. The problem with this approach is that it takes months and years to get that type of program fully developed. Well worth the money, but you have to be looking long term. All right, I think that just makes sense. That I think Marcus has about 120 videos on his site that are very well done and very informative. You don't do 120 videos in a week's time. Okay, Okay, that takes a lot of effort and the time to get it done. But the payoff is huge. On the other side of the spectrum is the person who's looking for a job to be done right now, and the really nice thing about them is that they might buy in the next 3 to 5 days. The challenge is that they're just looking to talk to people they have no relationship with. And so they have no way to understand the extra value that you bring to the table. And so they're probably going to get 3 or 4 quotes. They're probably going to make a decision more on price than anything else, because really, in the amount of time they've got to make a decision, price is the one thing they understand. It takes a while for them to really understand quality and your unique approach. But price they can understand right away. And so the good side is they're ready to buy now. The downside is that the most knowledgeable thing they can make a decision on is the price of the project. If that makes sense to people, if they can just put in the chat, makes sense, got it, yes, anything like that. If you have a question, put that in too, okay? So I'm just going to wait a moment and allow some people to go in and tell me if we've explained that enough yet or not. Okay, perfect. All right. Thank you. I appreciate the feedback. It really is helpful. All right. So that being said, what is quite often the best approach is a combination if you don't have enough leads right now. We just were talking, actually Grayson was just talking to a new prospect who, he has 150 employees, Grayson, is that accurate? Grayson? Well, we seem to have lost Grayson. All right. He has about 150 employees, and they have plenty of work. And what he's telling us is we don't need to do anything to bring in business today, but we really do want to strengthen the quality and the number of leads we're getting a year down the road. So the way we'd approach that client would be dramatically different than a client who is saying, hey, I don't have business today. I need to bring business in today, and I don't care about the future. We'll deal with that in the future. The tactics and the strategies that we'd use would be dramatically different between those two situations.
They were just under 100 employees.
Just under 100, okay. So anyway, that's the spectrum. Now, what a lot of more aggressive companies is they want both. They want the full program so they can get and nurture their best clients. And they want to get clients now, and they want to get clients in the middle section, all right? And so they pass them through what we call a customer value journey, which is 8 steps. We won't go into it now, but it basically is, we describe it as somewhat like a romantic relationship. You first have to be aware that the other person exists. So that's the awareness stage. Then you need to engage with them, which is, talk or consume some of their product or content. And then there's the subscribe where we, exchange phone numbers or what have you. And then the convert where we actually, decide to go on a date, decide to have, a coffee together, have lunch, whatever, all the way up through, marriage with 10 grandchildren. Okay, it's each step of the way. Well, the interactions are different at each step of that way. All right. And so what we have to do is we have to make sure that we have the right content, the right conversation with each client or with each prospect in place, and we have to deliver them the right content and the right conversation for where they are in the process. All right. This is something that we find is foreign to most people when it comes to digital marketing. Usually the thought is the person is going to come to their website and they're going to fill out a form that says, get a free quote, get a free estimate, Talk to us about planning your kitchen design. It is right, kind of like, we try to be pickup artists. We try to go to the bar and leave with someone that night, and that can happen. But the quality of the person is usually not the same as that which was nurtured over a long period of time. And the same goes for our business leads. So, do we have any questions at this point about that? If we do, I would like to take a few moments and answer those questions. And if you don't, we'll get on to the main subject of the day. So I'm just going to give you like 30 seconds to think about it. If you have a question, put it into the chat and we'll deal with it or move on.
Well, it looks like they're either asleep or it makes perfect sense.
Makes perfect sense. So we're going to assume it makes perfect sense. All right. So now we're going to move on to the 3x3 grid, which is a process that was kind of developed by a gentleman named Dennis Yu. He has a company called Blitzmetrics. He either is or was the largest Facebook client in the country. Some of his clients include God, I just lost it, Grayson. GoDaddy is an example, is one of his clients. So he has put a lot of time and thought into the whole Facebook game. And this is one of the models that he's come up with. And I've chosen it for this class because it really gives you a way of thinking of the whole process. Now, like every process, there's goods and bads about this process, and we'll share those as we go along. But it really does describe the whole process that we tend to go through. And you'll understand how the ordering of the content is critical to be the right content in front of the right person at the right time. All right? So basically, the concept is, you have these 3 videos up here. Oops, let me go back. These 3 videos up here, which falls into what I was talking about, the sequence of the relationship. It goes into the awareness stage, and they're called why videos. And why videos are why you do what you do. So it's a way to have someone get to know you, know who you are, why you exist, why you're in business, why you're in the business you're in, and what it is that you pride yourself on in that business. It is purely a why video. And we'll give you an example here in a few minutes, but it's a why video. And we do 3 of those. And the 3 are trying to do the why from 3 different areas, 3 different angles, 3 different approaches. Again, to make sure that we're educating them on who we are. What is it that we like doing? Do we like sailing? Do we like golfing? That's basically what we're sharing, but from a business perspective here. All right. Once we have those 3 videos, we put them up on Facebook and we boost them to a defined audience, and we make sure that we've gone and defined that audience. But we boost them to a defined audience for people begin to see this set of videos. There is no call to action because this literally is just a get to know you video. There's no call to action whatsoever. The next step is we do 3 how videos. And the how is what our process is, what we do, how we do our business, how we bring service to you. And that, again, has no call to action, but it is, again, education. So we first do these videos, we post them, then we post these videos, but these videos are only shown, and we have a graphic here in a second that will show this, but these videos are only shown to people that have seen these videos. Okay, there's literally no way for them to see these videos unless they have seen one of these videos first. And so we're keeping the content appropriate for where they are in the relationship. First why, then how. Once we have the how videos done and posted and the remarketing audience is set for it gets shown to the right people at the right time, we then shoot the what videos. And the what videos are actually what you do, okay? It's where you'd say, you know, what we do is we start off designing your kitchen. What we do is we first design the layout of your outdoor lighting, you know, whatever. You actually describe what the next step is. And this is where there's a call to action where the people can actually invited to contact you and move forward into the opportunity of doing business with you. So it's a three-step process. The why videos, we get people to watch those, then we remarket to them the how videos, and then once someone's seen a how video, we then remarket the what videos to them. Okay, so it's a very simple, straightforward, three-step process. And just to give you an idea of how you do the different ones, the why videos might be talking about your first job. It might be talking about a childhood memory. It might be something you're thankful for. It is, again, why you do what you do, what motivated you, what made you the person you are in the business that you're in. Then you go to the hows, which might be tips for prospects, might be an interview with a prospect by a client of yours, might be an example of product solving you've done in the course of doing your work. But that which shows that your how is special and unique, and they should be interested in it. Once they've done that, we then go to the what, which might be promoting services, might be promoting products, and might be making a special offer. Okay, again, if you have any questions, just put it right into the chat. But that is the sequence. Now, the way the flow goes is the first thing we do is, as I said, explain this. As soon as these three are done and people are watching them, we then are promoting to these three also. But if you notice, if they've seen this first video, we still are promoting the other two why videos to them, along with the how videos. Because if we can have them watch 2 or 3 why videos, they're going to have a stronger connection to us. And if we get them to watch 2 or 3 how videos, they're going to have a greater appreciation for what we do. And then once people have seen videos on the second row, we then have stopped showing them the why videos. We're showing them the other 2 how videos and the what videos. And so again, we're moving them in a steady movement into this relationship, which we hope ends up being them a satisfied client of ours. And so if you really want to get a little dizzy, you can study this flow, and this is ultimately what we're doing. All right? So, that being said, this is how you do the why video, okay? And it is like when I was, okay? So I'll just give a quick example, and I'm just doing this off the cuff. I'm not, my timing might be a little off. In fact, for the fun of it, Grayson, can you time me on this?
Yeah, I can, but we had a couple of questions. Do you mind if we discuss them before we go forward? Okay,
Yep.
Gail says, with regard to the why videos, please give examples of the different approaches you're referring to. Alex says, how do you control the flow of them watching the videos? That's
okay.
it.
All right. So let me answer the first one, and maybe you could answer the second one, Grayson?
Yep.
Okay. So I'll just give, which actually we were going on to that, which is perfect. So these are the 3 components of a why video. Is when I was. So as an example, when I was the director for a local BNI region, BNI is a organization that helps people give referrals to other businesses and receive referrals. I had the disappointment of having one of our members go bankrupt, and he was a kitchen and bath remodeler, and he went bankrupt because he didn't have the ability to get the right clients. Everyone who used him raved about his work, but he just couldn't get enough business. That was the day I decided I was going to figure out how to help small businesses get the business they needed in order to survive. I'm Art Radke. I'm the founder of More Prospects Now. All right. So I don't know how long that was, Grayson, but that would be
40
one
seconds.
example. How many?
40.
Perfect. Okay. So that is an example of one of the whys. Why am I doing this? And that's a true story. You want to make sure it's a true story because it has to ring as a true story. Okay? And so that would be one example of a why video. I believe video might be, I believe most people got into their business because they were excellent at doing what their business did, not necessarily they were great at marketing. And I believe that their satisfaction with their company is driven by their ability to bring in clients. And so I get great satisfaction by helping fantastic small business people getting the clients they need in order to build the company that they dreamt of when they started it. I'm Art Radke, founder of More Prospects Now. Grayson, about how long?
That was under 30 seconds.
Okay. Yeah. By the way, we say maximum of a minute. The shorter, the better, if you can actually get your message across, okay? So, all right.
Did you want me to answer Alex's question?
Not yet. I want to finish this question.
Sure.
Okay. And the last type of why video would be I started, okay? I started More Prospects Now, a digital marketing agency. And to be blunt, I was terrible at it. And so I became committed into learning how to do it the absolute best. I did crazy things like find people that were doing a tremendous job, like the gentleman, like Marcus Sheridan, who actually grew his business by about 100% during the 2008 recession as a pool guy. I can't believe a pool guy doubled the size of his business. And I reached out and befriended him and became a friend of his and he became a mentor of mine because I am committed to being the best digital marketing agency for small contractors, and I need the input from the best. And Marcus Sheridan is an example of one of the best. I'm Art Radke. I'm the founder of More Prospects Now. All right. Now, who was it? Was it Gail who asked the question, Grayson?
Gail.
Ask her if those help or if she has a follow-up question.
Yep. Thank you. Yes.
Perfect. Okay. So why don't you go and answer the second question? Because I'll be honest with everybody, I haven't figured out how to do it either. That's why we're a team and not a bunch of individuals.
So we do a tiered remarketing strategy, Alex, and remarketing is where we take people that have interacted in some way with the videos that we show them on the first level. Like if they watch the Was video, we'll show them the Believe and the Started video, but we'll also show them the next level of videos. So then we keep showing them that until they either watch the second level or they finish watching, or they watch one of the second levels. I mean, it's that simple. So once they've watched a second level video, we show them the other 2 second level videos and the third level videos, trying to move them in a progression. And then once they watch the third level of video, we can begin to show them ads around taking the next step. And Alex's question is all through Facebook permissions. Well, we would use the Facebook Pixel Audiences, which is in the Facebook Business Manager under data sources. And using what we call exclusions, we can create these audiences. So what we would do is we would say, create an audience from everybody that saw the first set of videos, but didn't see the other set of videos. And then another audience would be, look at everybody that saw the second level of videos, but didn't see the third level of videos. Does that make sense? Hi, Angela. Alex, did I answer your question? Yes, okay. So it's done through remarketing.
Okay. And there are some challenges because, and again, Grayson can explain this better than I can, but you need a big enough audience to have this actually work. And so we will see later, we actually have a look into an ad account that is running this program right now. And you'll see that, you know, you need a lot of people to have seen the first row of videos to successfully remarket to them to show them the second row. Is that fair to say, Grayson?
Yeah, you have to have at least 100 people in the audience, which is 100 people that either watched past a certain point of the video or shared it or liked it or made a comment.
Right. And in this particular case, the measure we use is 75% of the video. So if it's a 60-second video, we want them to have watched at least 45 seconds of it. Okay, and as my understanding is you can set that at several different points. But that's the point that we use for this program, is 75%. All right. Now, if you've ever tried to get someone to watch a video, it is amazing how hard it is to get someone to watch more than 3 seconds of a video. I mean, really hard. And so this is a skill you'll have to develop. It is amazing now when you follow these types of scripts, how compelling they become to the point that people will watch them. But in the example we will share a little bit later, one of the things that really is stunning is the different results that 3 different videos get. It is clear that one video is clearly outperforming the other videos and the like. And so, as I say, you do have to get better. I have one friend and client who did this, and the first time he did it, he was miserable. Nobody wanted to watch it. I mean, he couldn't get a remarketing audience because nobody was watching 75% of the videos. By the third set of Y videos, he had like 50% of the people who went watching 100% of the video. So this is a skill you can develop, but it is a skill like everything else. So don't necessarily expect to be great at it the first time you do it. All right. So here's kind of a breakdown that they have. It's the hook. The hook is the thing that hopefully gets the person willing to listen to the next part of the video. Okay, so that's the hook. That has to be about 3, 4, 5 seconds. Then comes the statement, okay, that you're going to base the video on. Okay, that's the belief. That's the takeaway. Okay, then you want to include details from the exact moment in time that you realize that. Okay, and then you do the emotional reaction, and then the bounce and the realization. Okay, we then go, and that forms about 40 seconds out of 60 seconds. Then you go to the I believe that statement, the emotional transition. That you believe this, and then the last one, I am. I'll actually talk with more prospects now, or whoever you are. Okay, or I help. I actually should have said, I'm directing more prospects now. We help small businesses get the number and type of clients they want. All right.
Hey, Art.
Yes.
We have a question.
Okay.
Do you have any tips for making the videos more likely to capture the audience's attention? And I'm thinking that she probably is referring to the hook and statement. So if you might go back to the very beginning, how do we get them in the first 3 to 5 seconds to?
Yeah. The hook, I've got to tell you, the single most important thing is the hook, because if you don't get them hooked, they're gone in 3 seconds. And so the hook has to be something. It's an odd thing as you develop a skill with it over time, but it's the tickler. It's the reason that you might listen. So, as an example, we're about to watch a video in a couple of minutes by Josh Walton, who's actually has a web design company called Websites for Anything. And he starts off, and I don't know the words exactly, we will watch it in a moment. But he starts off with, the best thing I learned from a business coach was, and that's not necessarily dramatic, but it has seemed to pull people in. They go, oh, this is the best thing he learned from. I wonder what that is. And so if you don't leave them wondering what happened, what it is, they're probably not going to stay around. So I'll just give you an example of one I did that got very high listening. And I was 15 years old, and I was sailing at the Orleans Yacht Club, getting last again. And then my father shared with me the item that changed my life forever. He said, your problem is you're losing to people who don't know what they're doing. You need to go to major regattas and race against the absolute best. Because at least when they beat you, you're going to see the right way to sail. And so the next week, we all went to a major regatta 6 hours away and got dead last in every single race. The week after, we went to another major regatta, got dead last. We went on for 6 weeks. On the 7th week, we went back to our original club, the one that I had never, out of a 20-boat fleet, had never gotten better than 17th. And in 3 races, we won 3 races. I realized then that you only improve when you associate with the absolute best. And so in my business, I always make sure to find the best. In my personal life, I always try to find the best, because it's only in finding the best that you become skilled at the thing you want to be skilled at. I'm Art Radke, owner of More Prospects Now. We help small businesses get the clients and the number of clients they want. So the hook is, I was 15 and getting dead last again. It's like, that's just kind of, what does that mean? And we want to listen to a little bit more of the story. And then it goes into, my father told me. It's like, what did his father tell him? What was it? And so each way you're beginning to build momentum, but they want to hear the next part.
Her question back is, so you made the hook a mysterious cliffhanger, ?
Correct. That's exactly right. And it's funny. I originally did that video that I just described with the way I became a good sailor. Nobody cared how I became a good sailor. It did miserably. It was the same story, but when I was 15 and was dead last again, got people interested. They all could remember being 15. They all remember disappointment. They could connect to it. How I became a good sailor was irrelevant to them. Does that make sense?
Makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
She says yes.
Okay. And so it takes a little while. It usually isn't the story. If you want to tell the story, it's usually a pretty good story. That's why you want to tell it. But it's in the way of telling the story that becomes the thing. You have to build a little suspense, build a little drama, and then unfold it over time. All right? Any other questions?
Carry on.
Okay. So let's see if I can do this now. I think it's in the chat, if I can find the chat. Grayson, why can't I? Ah, there we are. I think participants, Q&A, news blogs. Where's the chat, Grayson?
You have to probably press the escape key.
Oh, there's the chat. Never mind. Okay. So up here, I believe I don't see it.
All right, Chowdhury just pasted the link into the chat.
At the bottom, okay. Grayson, can you do it for me, because I'm not succeeding?
You'll have to give me the screen share.
Okay, I can do that.
Let me just pull that up really quick. 1 second. Oh.
While you're doing it, I'll just say that those two stories I told, the same story, but one with how I became a good sailor, and the other one was when I was 15 and I got dead last again. We went from 5% of the people watching 75% of the video up to 85% of the people watching 75% of the video, all by just changing that hook. So start off with the one to the left.
Oh, you know what? I need to make sure that I put on the share computer sound.
Okay. And again, this is a live video done by Josh Wolf.
I was 15 years old. My uncle gave me the book Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. And I read that book and was really, thrilled at the idea of investing and building up sources of income. And I looked at my uncle. That was kind of the catalyst, right? I looked at my uncle, who's been an entrepreneur and small business owner his own life. And I kind of realized at that age, over those, early years, that's what I wanted for myself one day. And, that's why I got involved in this business. And one of the reasons I love it so much is, every day I get to work with and for business owners a lot like me who also want that kind of independence and want to take care of their families and take care of their employees and things like that. And that's just, it's just an awesome experience. It's one of the reasons why I love what I get to do every day. I'm Josh Walton with Websites for Anything. I was 15 years.
Okay. So remember that one, because we're going to ask, after we played all three, which one you think is the best. Okay, so that we're going to call the Uncle Jack. Okay, and then comes this one.
Gotten started in the business. My friend Chris said, you've got to just gotten started in the business. My friend Chris said, you've got to join this networking group and you've got to get involved passing referrals and building relationships. And I'm glad I listened to him, because it took me 4 or 5 years to kind of come to a realization about just how critical relationships and referrals and word of mouth is to small businesses. And honestly, at this point now, I believe that micro businesses, especially those with less than 10 employees, referrals and word of mouth, those are how we survive, and those are how we are going to eventually thrive. And the only thing to do is acknowledge and embrace that reality. And if you're doing anything in your business that you want to consider marketing, you've got to be doing it from that context. How am I going to get more referrals? How am I going to build and maintain and sustain and grow relationships that I can turn into more word of mouth and referrals? That's what I believe. I'm Josh Walton with Websites for Anything. Right. So I was working with my business coach about 2 years ago, and he pointed out something that I thought was really obvious. He said a lot of the education and the articles and the books and the videos and the seminars, they're really oriented at big businesses. The Small Business Administration says that a small business has less than 500 employees. Well, if you're a micro business with less than 10 employees, how different are your operations and your problems and your solutions? Look, if McDonald's wants to change the way that they greet someone, just by way of example, they've got to roll out a test group. They've got to test it in at least 1 or 2 locations. Then they've got to train the trainers. They've got to upgrade the manual. Maybe like a year or 2 later, it finally goes live across the country, much less across the world. If I want to change the way I greet a customer, I just answer the phone differently next time. So, I took his point to heart, and honestly, to this day, I believe that micro businesses, our challenges are different and our solutions are different, and we got to acknowledge that. And when we look at that advice that comes out, we got to take it with a grain of salt and put our thinking caps on and say, okay, is this going to apply to my business at this size today? Because something might be highly efficient if you have $10,000 to throw at it, but if you only got $1,000 for whatever that marketing idea is, you need something that's going to work at that level. So those are are just a couple examples of how microbusinesses are different and how firmly I believe that. And I think it makes perfect sense. I'm Josh Walton with Websites for Anything.
All right. So those are 3 videos. Now, in the chat, pick which one you think was the best. Say 1 for the first one, 2 for the second, 3 for the third. All right?
I'll tally them up.
Okay. Come on, everybody. This is participatory. Throw it in. We have about 23 people on this call, so keep them coming.
If you don't know where the chat is, you can highlight over what you're watching, and down at the bottom there should be a row with icons. If you're on a phone, probably not going to happen, but so far we've got 5 for 3, 6 for 3, 1 for 2, and 2 for 1. So it looks like 3 is coming out to be the clear favorite
so far, but let's get a few more votes, everybody. Let's say this works better the more we participate.
Yeah. Now, I know Angela Hubbard, who's listening.
Yeah, but she never participates. She kind of hides in the shadows, you know.
Hilarious.
All right.
All right.
That seems to be it. Okay. So now, if you can give me back the screen, Grayson.
Yeah, go right ahead. I'm not sharing.
Okay. So we're going to now go and take a look. Why is it not go? Oh, there we go. Okay. Let's see if we can pull this. We can't. Okay, so if we take a look at this, we have for all of them the most the number 3 one, why big business doesn't translate. We had 1,754 people listen to 95% of it. 1,728 people listen to 100% of it. This number is part of this number, by the way, so it's not double that, okay?
The other way
If
around.
you take a look, the number 2 video, let's see, this was the number 3 video. The number 2 video had 292 people, okay? 292 people listen to it 100%, okay? That is a very, very low percentage comparison. I mean, it's what, 30%, not even that, 25% maybe? And number 1, the Uncle Jack one, was 511. All right? So as you see, we can, just because we did it, so many times people say, oh, I tried that, it didn't work. Well, this is a perfect example that just trying it. This is the 3rd one he did, and I don't think it's any mistake. The 3rd one he did was the best one. All right? But I want to just think about this for a second. This gentleman does websites in the Fredericksburg area. He likes being a local, and I think you picked that up in his whys. He likes being a local web design company. So he has now had a total of 2,531 people listen to the complete 1-minute video of why. And that cost him 2 cents per, okay? Is it conceivable? Is it even possible having 2,500 people in your local area learning why you do something? Is it even possible that that's not a good thing? Is there any way that he's not going to benefit from that? I mean, I think the answer is obviously he's going to benefit. All right?
And I think it's important to just point out that, you know, he's definitely paying for that. Is there any number on how much that cost him?
I don't see it here, but I happen to know it's about $500.
And Alex asks, do you know that there are 2,500 unique listeners for a fact?
Yes. I mean, you can answer that better than me. I mean, that's the way.
This is actually Facebook's statistics from this campaign. So video plays at 100%, 2531. That's actually people that sat on that video on Facebook and watched the entire video. Now, could there possibly be some people doing that? You know, I don't know. That screenshot was, by the way, that screenshot was taken 2 hours ago, according to Chowdhury. So that's legitimate, real-time data.
Right.
That answer your question, Alex? No. All right. What do you mean by that?
I think his
What
question.
time period is that? What time period is that over? Chowdhury, can you tell me how long that campaign's been running?
About 18 days, I believe, but Chowdhury can tell us exactly.
20 days.
20 days, okay.
So you're talking about 100 a day, 100 and some change a day. The number of people listen to the video, 1, may be the same people who listen to video 2 and 3.
That is actually true.
Is there I bet there's a unique views statistic in the columns, Chowdhury. Can you work on that? And we'll come back to that. That's a good point, Alex.
But I want to bring up another point, though, and that is, let's just take the 25-second view, the percent views. That was 30,000 people heard him at least begin to address something. That is a lot of brand building. That's a lot of visibility. 30,000 people.
Mike Bruni says, to be clear, he's paying to push this out to people, not in his current network.
Correct.
Yeah, he's paying a pay per click strategy on Facebook ads.
Right.
Or pay per view, you know.
Right.
Pay per
Now,
view, yes.
That's correct. Now, the next thing is, because we're only marketing the second group, and we'll share this next week because we'll be talking about the second row next week. But there are many less views on the second week because they're only being shown to the people that have watched this week. Okay? But we're focusing on the first set of videos this week. All right?
So Alex
anyway,
says the total cost is 1 cent times 32,000. That is correct.
Yeah. So it's $320 or whatever that he paid for this. Yeah, a little over $300.
And that's 1 cent for 3-second plays. So and 2 cents for a 3 play. So it's somewhere between 1 and 2 cents, but probably less than $500 total spend over a 20-day period.
Okay. All right. In the time period, by the way, before this system worked out, and this is one of those funny things, he actually had an existing client call up and say, hey, I saw your video and I had forgotten about my website. I need to do something about it. Can I talk to you about getting a new website? Now, that's not a new person he didn't know, but it was a person who was not calling him for a website, who did call him for a website after he did the video. And the interesting thing is, he did ask, well, how long have you known you need a new website? She said, about 2 years. He had done the website for 5 years earlier. And so he, at least, and you can form your own opinion, but he is assuming that if she had gone for 2 years without contacting him, knowing that she needed a new website, that she would have gone another 2 years if this video hadn't gotten in front of her. Okay, so it's already brought him a sale in 20 days. All right. So here's everyone's homework. Produce 3 1-minute or less videos of why you do what you do. And don't worry about how bad it is. As I say, that's how we get better. Just push the button. I'm not even asking you to launch it yet if you don't want to. Let's just get the practice in. We also will send you a link to a private Facebook group that only members can see, and we ask you to post your videos in that private group so we can give feedback and we can all get better at this. All right? Again, I'm going to be a broken record. The more we participate, the more we're going to get out of this. The hardest thing for people is actually getting started. And so I implore you, push the button and put the video in the private Facebook group. All right.
And I would say feel free to comment and give positive critique on the other videos that are in there.
And when we say positive, I think, Grayson, you mean state it positively. But if you have ideas for improvement, share those.
Yes, correct. And the other members of the group hopefully will do that for the videos that you post.
That's correct.
We want this
and
to be
again,
a collaborative thing.
The agreement for the people in the group is it's confidential. Now, obviously, we can't guarantee that, but most people are pretty good about it. So we want it to be our safe place where we can go and experiment with this type of marketing. We'll also send you our Facebook page. We ask you to like it because we share a lot of items on the Facebook page that you might find interesting and in alignment with what we're doing here. All right? So that being said, we have about 8 minutes left. And so if you have any questions, please put them in the chat so we can address them before we leave. Okay. And I just want to share 2 quick stories while you're doing that about what happens when you begin to put in this whole kind of program. We had 2 conversations with 2 separate clients. One was Simplify Exteriors, which is a roofing, siding, and windows company. They, from digital marketing, so far this week have gotten 52 leads from digital marketing. And when we say digital marketing, and the thing I find fascinating about them, it's from the complete cycle. They have developed stuff where people have been following their stuff for months and are now coming through and asking for an appointment. And they're the easiest appointments in the world. Usually they meet with nobody else, and usually they don't quibble about price because they've developed the relationship all the time. All the way up to a lead gen program we run for them, which is really looking for the 3%, the people that are actively looking to do it now, and we're just throwing our name in front of them, hoping they give us a chance. They're not warmed up at all, okay? But they've gotten a lot. I believe it's 15 of those leads since the beginning of the week. And the reason he does that, even though he has the others working well, is because he has 5 salespeople. He likes keeping them out in front of people, even if they're not the fully relationship-built clients that are the ideal. And they do close those, okay? They just don't close all of them. It's not as high a percentage as the other. The ones that have been following them for months, it's like 70 or 80% of those close.
All right, I have two points. One is Chowdhury's pasted a link in the chat that will show you the rest of the statistics, including unique 2-second continuous plays, which looks to be about 4,000 and some change. Our Gail asks, what phrase do you think would be helpful to Google to find ideas for hook statements?
Yeah, Grayson, do me a favor. Just Google Ask the Public.
Ask Republic?
Ask the Public. P-U-B. See if that's the right name.
Search listening tool for marketing?
Yes.
Okay, and you want me to share my screen and take a quick look? We only have 5.
No, I just say the link. What this particular website does is it tells you the most searched for items. So it's the thing that people are interested in around any subject. So if you put roofing in, they would tell you the most searched items, which might be, how do I put on my own roof? It might be, what type of material should I use on my roof? But it's the questions that the public asks the most often. Now, this will give you ideas. It's not the best for the hook because because these aren't necessarily hooks, but you can build hooks around them. But I would say the absolute best way is that virtually every good ad has a hook to it. And so, it's destroyed watching advertisements for me forever. Whenever I watch an advertisement, I'm watching for what the hook is, what the story is. I'm watching the whole, the whole ad and dissecting it, trying to figure out what I can learn from it. So that's a great thing. You're probably seeing ads anyway, either online, TV, radio. What's the hook that they're using? How can you use a similar hook? And it develops over time. It's interesting. We get that if we go and take a golf lesson, that doesn't make us a professional golfer. But there's a lot of things in life that we kind of think if we hear how to do it once, we can go and do it like a professional. It's just not true. You will not be good at hooks until you've worked hard at becoming good at hooks. Okay? So, but you are surrounded by hooks, so be listening, pay attention, and learn from them. All right?
Any last questions?
And I'm going to say the things that are most impactful for you are usually the things that are most impactful for other people. Okay? It just has to be done in a way that builds suspense. All right, any other questions yet, Grayson?
Nope.
All right, and the last story is a kitchen and bath remodeler, and this is just a great story of what a 12-month effort will do when it is not just an effort, but actually a planned strategy. Leo Lance, who's a remodeler in Richmond, Virginia, he is an accomplished remodeler, but he started with us about a year ago, and he kind of thought we were crazy. Poor Grayson had to kind of talk him through it because, Leo wanted to tell people how he was the best, how they should choose him because he's so good. And we kept trying to talk him into what we know by data, what's the most effective way. And Leo did listen, and we finally got his website and his content and his strategies done. We have videos on the site. And last week, and again, Grayson, jump in if I get this wrong because you're the one who actually talked to him. But last week, he sold 2 kitchens, both over $70,000, and 2 baths over $45,000 each. So that's over $230,000 worth of sales last week in the middle of the pandemic. And he also has sold more cabinets this year already than he did all of last year. This stuff works. The challenge is actually doing it. That's the challenge. When we start doing a website, we want it to look good, as an example. We want to be happy with our website. And I've got to tell you, I learned a long time ago, I really don't care if I'm happy with my website. If my prospects that I want coming to the website like it, then I'm in love with my website. I don't care if it's terrible looking to me. And that is a tough thing to buy into, and I get it. But as I say, marketing is a data-driven business. We have the information. It's available. I use the same philosophy as my father taught me when I was 15. You got to go out and play with the big competitors, the people who really know what they're doing to learn this stuff, and we try to do that every week.
1 minute.
All right. Well, that is it. I hope this was beneficial. I'll tell you what, last thing, if you could just, on a scale of 0 to 5, if you could just leave 5 being the best, you got a lot out of it, 0 being I got nothing out of it, what a waste of time. And it's not personal. It's, I won't take it personally. Just throw up some numbers of what you feel today has been for you. That would be helpful for us planning for next week. All right.
Look at all the ones.
They're all ones. I'm surprised they're not all zeros. Are you sure they're all ones? That's very generous, actually.
5, 5, 3.5, 4.
Excellent. All right. Thank you. Also, if there's any other questions you want answered or any things you want to share with me, just art@moreprospectsnow.com. Just drop me a line. We will get back. And if you want to know things, obviously this program is part of the program where you're trying to build relationship. If any of you are in need of business right now, email me and I can put together a couple of ideas for you that will cost you absolutely nothing. That might be able to help you get a business right now, okay? But it's just not what this specific class is on, all right? So we'll be sending out the email with the links to the Facebook, our Facebook page and the private Facebook group, and please push the button.